Hi, and welcome to the 2024-2025 Back to School Training Module number 5. This training is going to be on access and alternate access as part of our Back to School trainings for access and WIDA alternate access. We're going to try to get you started at the very beginning. Now, there will be additional trainings for access and alternate access that will occur later this fall. And my name is Chris Williams. I'm the program consultant in the Office of Assessment Accountability, and I'm going to be providing this training for you today. With the back to school trainings, we have several module trainings that we're going to be doing for these access and alternate access trainings. So you can see all the other module trainings that are part of these back to school trainings, and we're going to focus today on module number 5, which is access and alternate access. And we're going to start with this module, we're going to start with access, and then we'll move into kindergarten, and then also our alternate access within this module. So for access, let's talk about that. Of course, our test vendor for both our online and paper that serves as our operational test vendor for access, both online and paper, is Data Recognition Corporation, that is DRC. They serve as our person for both online and paper testing, which includes kindergarten and alternate access for ELLs besides access for ELLs. So within this, they are our subcontractor of WIDA, which is our main contract that we have for all of our assessments. But they're going to serve as our testing vendor for printing and disseminating and for reporting, etc. But we hold the contract with WIDA, which is the World-Class Instructional Design and Assessment. That's what WIDA stands for. And they are our primary vendor for all of our assessments that you see that is federally required for our English learners who are identified each year. Let's go into our schedule. Now, DRC is the one, like I said, will print, score. They're the ones who house our online system. They also ship our test materials to us, for our districts. And then also DRC also has lots of tasks, that provides tasks through WIDA AMS for us to do. Now, let's talk about this because you'll see that for 2025, that we have our access schedules, and our access schedule covers not only access and alternate access, but it also covers kindergarten. It also, covers our accommodated materials of Braille and large print that, when we get ready to order, you'll be able to see that. So I just want you to know that with this, it's not just access, because access for ELLs encompasses a lot of our assessments underneath one. With test material ordering, you're going to start ordering materials September 27th, and that goes to October 23rd of this year. You'll also see, you'll do that in WIDA AMS, and there will be a separate training that we will do that will talk about that. Also, you'll start setting up you'll see that your students are set up for access in registration starting on November 27th, and then it'll go to February 14th. And starting on 11/27, you'll be able to see that your students are already, if you had students who were in the test ordering window and you ordered materials for them, we send a pre-ID label file after that happens to DRC to set up to pre-populate your students already in test sessions when you see them in November 27th. So be looking for that. And then if you've got any kindergarten materials, or if you've got any alternate access materials, or if you've got any accommodated materials, Braille and large print, those materials will come to your district on, you will be receiving those in your districts starting December 3rd. And then also we have always have an additional test materials window. So if you've got any students who have come in after the materials ordering window has closed, then we will still have an additional materials that you can still get if you've got any students who come in that are kindergarten alternate access, or if you need any students who need Braille or large print. You'll be able to do that starting when you receive your materials on December 3rd, and that additional material window will stay open till a week prior to the deadline of the test window. So that'll stay open till February 7th. And you'll be able to, as a district assessment coordinator, is the one who will be ordering additional materials for your district. And they're the same ones who are also ordering test materials for your district, unless they have someone else who they've designated for that particular duty. Now, for ordering. And then when it comes to additional materials, your DAC will be the one who will be ordering those materials for you in WIDA AMS. And they have to, for additional test materials window, though you have as a DAC, you will want to contact me, and I'll be able to give permissions for you to start ordering materials that you need for your students. But make sure that your students are in WIDA AMS, that you see your students that are in WIDA AMS that have already students that were already pre-populated for you, and any new students that you get after the ordering window, you'll have to add them manually to test registrations on November 27th. And throughout the window to the last day of the window, which is the 14th, anytime that they come in during that window, you'll have to manually add them if they're not already pre-populated for you. And then materials, if you've got any students who moved in after that ordering window, you'll have to order those during that additional test material window. And then now we're going to get to the test window. When is this test window? Well, this year it's going to be January 6th through February 14th, Valentine's Day. So I just want to kind of go over those. And then when are we going to ship those materials? So once the testing window is done, when do we ship those to DRC? They have to be postmarked no later than February 28th. And you want to make sure that you do not miss that deadline of shipping those, because then that holds up reports for our state. And so also, once the testing window is done and you've shipped your materials back to DRC and they get to the warehouse, they'll check those materials in, and then they will get that ready for what we call our pre-reporting data validation window, which is done in WIDA AMS, and that will be March the 19th through April the 2nd this year. And you, as in the districts, will have access to be able to do this data validation, look at the demographics, make sure your students are correct in there. You'll also be able to see any duplicate students and see if there's any students who are in there twice. You want to fix those during this time. Excuse me. And then we also, you're probably saying, well, Chris, once that's over with, then when do I get my reports? Well, this year you will get your reports online for Access and alternate access, April the 28th. And then you will get your printed reports sent to you in the district starting May 7th through the May 8th. Then also we have our score correction window that happens after you get your reports. And for example, if something happened that you didn't clean it up during, something happened that you come back and you're like, well, Chris, why does a student have 2 reports? Well, that's because you didn't clean up during data validation. So it's very limited during this time on the score correction window. You as a DAC would need to contact me and starting May 8th, and we'll have that correction window starting May 22nd. And then once that is finished, if you have to make any more, if you had to make any additional corrections, like duplicate records or whatever, then those records will be combined after this, May 22nd, after this score correction. And then you will get a new report in WIDA MS. But you want to always do it during this pre-reporting data validation. Get as much as possible, because we won't be able to correct very much during this May 8th correction. Now, what is for Access? We've gone over this. You know, what is all included with our Access for ELLs for the suite of it. It is federally required, and it's also state required that we give all identified English learners an English language proficiency assessment annually each year. And also we have to make sure that we are meeting these requirements, not only federally, but also state requirement as well, because Access is a state required assessment. And alternate access and kindergarten. All of these are state required assessments and federal requirements for our English learners. There will be trainings. There, of course, you know, for our district and school staff, will begin your Access and alternate access and your kindergarten training. You will start those trainings in the WIDA Secure Portal starting September 1. Don't start those now for Access for ELLs. Those start September 1, and your teachers will be rolled over into the system, and then we'll be able to add you know, new ones into that as well. There will be additional trainings besides this particular back to school training in the fall. That will be, and these trainings will be posted to the Kentucky Department of Education website for you to review. You want to make sure you review those. Also, there will be, you have to make sure you've done the trainings. In the WIDA Secure Portal, you have to make sure that you've looked over these trainings that I've completed. And then also there are additional trainings that WIDA provides too that support for you as well throughout the year. And one of those that I wanted to get you started in is, you know, sometimes people ask, well, Chris, you know, how do I know if my students who are duly identified, that English learners, you know, who have an IEP and a PSP, how do I know which assessment to give them, whether it's Access or alternate access? Well, we'll talk about that for alternate access in just a few minutes, but also there's a webinar that will also assist you that's coming up August 28th. From 10 to 11:15, that's Central Time. If you're not able to join online and get this, the webinars are recorded, and you can find those on the WIDA website under the WIDA Secure Portal webinars. with your WIDA Secure portal. Same account that you get into to be able to get to your trainings for the WIDA Secure portal. And then I just wanted to kind of go over, here's where you're going to see all of my, you'll see information on the KDE website about access for ELLs, about access, and you're going to be able to see about alternate access, that it is a federal requirement. You'll also see the testing window for it. You also have links that will on our KDE website. And the way you get to this is you go to Assessment Accountability on the KDE website, click on Assessments, and then it'll take you to Access for ELLs page that you see here. Here's a link directly to it. If you don't want to go through all those steps on the WIDA website, you can, on this slide, you can go directly to it. It'll take you to this page. It'll take you to all the links. It's very important that you're looking at all of these links because they're going to take you to lots of important information. In case you forgot where the WIDA, our Kentucky's WIDA page is on the WIDA website. There's a link to it. The WIDA website's here, WIDA MS. Also, to get to your English language development standards, to get to access information, alternate access to the screener, also to the accessibility and accommodations manual that you're going to need for students who need accommodations on the screener or for access or alternate access. And then down below those will be all of the trainings that I've done will be on that page. And also for roster trainings that I will be doing as well for access. Those will all be on this particular website. So be looking for this page and it'll have updates and let you know what is available now for the trainings and then what will be available in the future. So this is a very important page that you want to look at to get to the trainings that I do, as well as to other sites that you need for English learners. Also, here is the exit criteria because people ask me this, this is always important at the very beginning of the school year because, you're getting reports back. You're getting your test results back. They're being imported into by our office into Infinite Campus. And so you always want to make sure that on the tabs that if a student is has an overall composite of a 4.5 on a tier B or C is the exit criteria for access. If they've met the exit criteria, you want to make sure that you've gone into Infinite Campus and marked them as exited, and that you have inundated all of their accommodations and their program services types in Infinite Campus. And if you need assistance with that, that is in the module for Infinite Campus that I go over for identified EL students. That particular module, and it'll also connect you to the data standards to help you with that. Also, the same exit criteria is for kindergarten access. They have to meet the exit criteria of a 4.5 overall composite on that. And the reason why they don't have remember that kindergarten do not have a tier level. They don't have a tier B or C level. Now, let's talk about the WIDA alternate access. Now we're going to shift ours to our, our K through 12 students who are significant cognitively developed. They are our English learners. They must have a significant cognitive disability, and they are expected or are participating in our alternate assessment because we do have with our WIDA alternate access. It is a paper or pencil assessment for grades K through 12. And then the individualized educational program. The IEP team also determines, whether the student on that team will take regular access with accommodations or will be participating with the WIDA alternate access. And the IEP team will use the participation decision tree and the information below to assist you, and as well as other information too. Because, you know, if the student is expected to participate in the alternate assessment, because, you know, usually our alternate assessment, assessment for our content assessment doesn't start till grades 3. And so we do have students who could participate in WIDA alternate because it does go K through 12. And so, you know, for those K2 students, the IEP team also has to see if by the decision tree and by the participation guidelines in the alternate assessment that we have for our content assessment, whether that student will be participating or not in the WIDA alternate access. And of course, they must have a disability that precludes them taking the regular access with accommodations. So let's look at see what that is. What that decision tree looks like and how this IEP team is going to get it. Here is linked directly to that decision tree that's on the WIDA website. That will help you determine if the student participates in WIDA alternate access. And remember earlier on the slides, I told you about resources in this particular one that will tell you about the webinar to see, kind of help your IEP determines whether the student takes, access with accommodations or alternate access. That's a webinar too that will help you as well this year. But then this decision tree is going to also help you along with the criteria for our alternate content assessment. So you go through and first you have to see, has the student been identified as an English learner? If yes, then you keep moving through the tree. If no, then the student would not participate. If the student has not been identified as an English learner yet, then you cannot move throughout the decision tree. So it stops. So you want to make sure that the student is identified as an English learner before you start this particular process. Also, with the WIDA alternate access, it was operational this past year at the first time. And it will continue to be given, the new WIDA alternate access for students who are most significant cognitive disabilities. It did incorporate the 2020 WIDA ELD frameworks. It did cover kindergarten, which was part of the new cluster that you gave operational back in the spring of K-12. It had new items. It also had that individual characteristics questionnaire at the very beginning that, prompted test administrators to answer questions and about students that will be reported on your score reports that you will be getting in September. So just remember that individual characteristics questionnaire is very important to fill out. Because you'll also see that information to help educators with reclassification decisions about students taking alternate access. So, those individual reports will also tell you if the student, that information will also see if the student had met that extra criteria or not on alternate. Also, it had the the alternate access can-do dog that was on all the materials, so you knew when you were going to get it. Also, there was a redesigned training course for the alternate assessment last year, and so that will still be available this year for the course. And Also, remember that your scores were delayed because we had a standard setting that happened in July this year for the alternate assessment. And so don't forget your score reports will be delayed for you for alternate access on 9/11 in WIDA AMS, and then it'll be your printed reports will on 9/26. Now, here are I just kind of reiterated the webinar that's coming up. I talked to you about that to kind of help decisions when reports are going to happen. Also, there were the Monday DAC email on July 8th, and you're probably saying, well, Chris, what if I'm watching this and I'm not a DAC? Well, you can get that on our KD website, even though after it's already, it's always, after Monday, it's always located on our KD website for you to get as well and be able to get that information. So there was a recording about the alternate access score reports. And there was also training coming up, like I talked to you about, on August 28th to help your staff for decisions. And then also talking about the trainings that you have to do. Exit criteria right now is a P2 for our, but that could, things could change after our alternate standard setting. So just be looking for that to come up in further communications. And then we're going to go over the WIDA website. What are you going to see when we get to the WIDA website? Well, some things I wanted to point out was the assessment page. When you log on to the WIDA website, you can get directly, I've linked it to the assessment page, and you can get to everything you want to know about access, everything you want to know about alternate access, about the screener, getting resources about, about the WIDA model on the WIDA website. Also getting links to the accessibility accommodations that you'll need, if you're screening students who have an IEP on both screener and also for access and alternate access. Also, technology information for your technology people will be on that page, and also how we build a WIDA website and how it's very important that we need you all to be able to do that. Also, on the Teach page at the top on the WIDA website, you'll get to everything you want to know about understanding our multilingual learners, which is our English learners are part of that. You'll get to family engagement, which is important, how to welcome our English learners to the classrooms, understanding what English learners can do with those can-do descriptors. And remember, those are not everything you should be doing for English learners, because you should be looking at those teaching with the standards, because we have those English language development standards that are important for our educators when they're providing services in the classroom. It's important to look at the assessment scores that you're getting both on the screener and on the assessments to see where the student is at this point and where you want to do. And those are the English language development frameworks are important because that 2020 edition is going to be important that you're teaching to those and helping our English learners progress and their ultimate goal of being able to exit from the program. So it's always important that we have language for learning. We have teaching in pre-K through grade 3. We also have, our teaching in Spanish, and we also have Marco Dale, who also with our Spanish language arts framework and our Spanish language development standards, there are those that is a separate thing for you to participate in. And also we feature educators and on that, so you can see what's happening across the consortium with featured educators. Now on our WIDA website. Then what do you see when you go to the Grow tab on the WIDA website? Well, you can see our e-learning page, and it has all the information about that. We also have our scheduled workshops and webinars that they have on the WIDA website. Supplemental assessment workshops and webinars, workshops for schools and districts. We also have the English Language Development Framework professional development that if you want additional professional development besides the e-learning that we provide, and also the other the professional development that our program side develop. There are additional development too that you can do in your district as well. That's a cost if you want to do, because the e-learning and the ones that the professional development that we provide through our through our e-learning course, and then through our program side of our KDE side with Cayman, Triplet, and Brandy Neal. They also provide additional PDs for our districts throughout the year that are free to you. And so you just have to sign up for those. And then we have also the WIDA webinars, any conferences that were coming up, and we do have the WIDA conference that is coming up in Pittsburgh. It's October the 15th through the 18th, and I've been sending out multiple communications about that throughout the year for you to register. And then WIDA at conferences, and then WIDA school improvement systems, and just look at that. Also, we have on the WIDA website, we do have our research that tells you all of the research that WIDA is doing at this time. Also about WIDA, and then any news that you want and about WIDA is also there as well. Went over the professional development. You also can click on this and get to our Kentucky members page, and it'll have it has what we had this past year, which is still available till August 31st. For you to complete, and then the new ones will be available starting September 1. So you'll see new ones come out on that page as well. You'll also see on our Kentucky members page, it'll have our full calendar that you saw in this particular training. It'll also have any identification and guidance for you for the screener is on that page. It'll also have, when it comes to access and altering access in kindergarten, it'll have checklists for you to be able to go through to help your district get ready for the assessments later on. And then it'll also have about the PD, and it also talks about the requirements about our trainings that we have to have, each year, that you have to go through those courses each year. So that way you'll be prepared for the assessments. So lots of information on our Kentucky members page on the WIDA website. Also, here is all the information that I talked about just now that you will see, plus you'll see all of our contact information on our members page too as well, for not only myself, but also for Cayman, Triplet, and Brandy Neal, who do a wonderful job in the program side. Their contact information as well is on that page as well, so that if you need to contact them as well for any information about your English learners when it comes to the program side. And then also in our office, here's all of our contact information to be able to get to us directly. I have linked our emails in the Office of Assessment Accountability and our Division of Assessment Support. There's other back to school trainings besides this one that also talk about for our back to school trainings that you'll want to make sure that you watch as well. In the Division of Assessment Accountability Support, we also have additional contact information for you. Not only myself, who handles the EL program, the EL assessment, excuse me, but also in our office, we have our contact number that you can reach us at any time, as well as our general mailbox, which is dacinfo@education.ky.gov. And I do want to thank you all for attending these particular modules. I think this is very important that you as a district these modules help you with the beginning of the school year, whether you're given the screener or whether you're given the getting ready for the assessments for our English learners, that you attend each of these modules, because there are 5 of those modules, and they are very helpful for you. And I do want to thank you again for all you do for our English learners, because you are very important to me, for my job, but also you are very important too in the districts to our English learners, because you are providing support and services and education to our English learners on a daily basis, and I appreciate each and every one of you all. Thank you.